The chamber hissed softly, a low mechanical sigh that had not sounded for centuries. Aaron's eyes flickered open, blinking against the harsh artificial light. For a moment everything was confusion. A cold mist hovered near the floor, curling around the thick tubes that connected to the walls. The hum of machinery filled the air, steady and alive like the heartbeat of the dormant station. He tried to remember why he was here. A distant memory, hazy and fragile, teased at the edges of his mind. Faces of people he had loved, the laughter of children, the warmth of the sun on his skin. But all of it felt like a dream that belonged to someone else. He could not shake the strange feeling that time had moved far beyond what he knew. Slowly, Aaron swung his legs over the edge of the chamber. His body was stiff, each movement echoing through the hollow room. He tested his muscles, and though weak, they responded. He took a deep breath, tasting the recycled air, sterile yet familiar. The realization hit him like a wave. He had been asleep for a long time, much longer than anyone could survive naturally. The room was filled with consoles and screens, blinking with tiny green lights. Most were dead, black as if life had left them, but some flickered faintly, attempting to communicate, their messages incomplete. Aaron moved toward one of the functioning consoles. He brushed the dust off, revealing faded letters. Cryopod maintenance, human preservation status, stable. His heart quickened. Human preservation. He had not been alone in the world, not exactly, but those who had started this journey with him were long gone. Perhaps they had woken and perished long before him, or perhaps the world had changed while he slept. With cautious steps, Aaron made his way to the station's exit. The massive doors hissed open, revealing a world bathed in an unfamiliar light. It was morning, or at least it had once been, but the sky was pale, almost washed out, and a strange stillness hung over everything. The city that had once thrummed with life now lay in silence. Skyscrapers stretched into the sky, their glass windows cracked or missing. Streets were cracked, overgrown with weeds that climbed the concrete like fingers reaching for the sun. Vehicles sat abandoned, their doors open as if the passengers had simply vanished. Aaron's footsteps echoed as he moved through the empty streets. He called out, softly at first, then louder, but no voice answered. The sound of his own voice bouncing off crumbling walls felt alien. The emptiness was overwhelming, pressing on his chest like a heavy weight. He wandered into a plaza once bustling with people. Fountains, long dried and cracked, reflected the weak sunlight. Benches were overturned. Posters and billboards, faded and peeling, told stories of a civilization that no longer existed. Aaron paused in front of one, a smiling family waving to the camera, their eyes bright and alive. The edges of the paper curled, but their smiles seemed almost to accuse him. Where did we all go? Aaron moved on, exploring the city as if walking through a museum of a lost world. His mind raced with questions. How long had he really slept? Where had everyone gone? Why was he the one to wake now? In the distance, he noticed movement. Not the movement of people, but of something alive. Birds, perhaps. He squinted, realizing they were strange. Larger than he remembered, almost intelligent in their motions. They circled buildings, diving in coordinated patterns as if studying him. He shivered. Something had changed. By afternoon, Aaron found a partially intact research facility. The doors were heavy but functional, sliding open with effort. Inside, the smell of old machinery and dust filled his nose. Consoles blinked faintly, and a soft whirring indicated that some systems were still alive. One terminal flickered to life as he approached. Words scrolled across the screen, fragmented and incomplete. Population decline. Mass exodus. Relocation program. Unknown variables. He tried to understand. Humanity had left, or had something forced them to disappear? The data was cryptic, as if someone had erased the history of the world while leaving pieces behind. Hours passed as Aaron searched the facility. He found empty dormitories, personal belongings left untouched, and journals filled with half-written thoughts. One journal caught his attention. The handwriting, careful and precise, described fears about the planet's stability, experiments in energy and space travel, and a hope that humanity could survive beyond Earth. Aaron realized with a sinking feeling that the planet he knew had changed, and so had humanity. Perhaps humans had left Earth seeking survival elsewhere. Perhaps they had failed. Even as fear gnawed at him, Aaron's instincts pushed him forward. He could not stay in one place. He needed to find answers and perhaps signs of life. Survival was ingrained in humans, and it whispered to him now with urgent clarity. The sky darkened with the onset of evening. Shadows stretched across the city, and Aaron felt the weight of solitude pressing on him. He found shelter in an old apartment building, climbing to the rooftop to see the expanse of the world. The city stretched endlessly, empty and quiet. Yet in that vast silence he noticed small signs of resilience. A tree pushing through the asphalt, vines crawling up a building's side, a fox moving cautiously in the distance. Life had not vanished entirely. As he settled for the night, Aaron allowed himself a small spark of hope. If life could endure without humans, perhaps humanity could find its way back. Perhaps he could be the first step in that journey. But as he drifted into a fitful sleep, a faint glow appeared on the horizon, pulsing, steady, artificial. It was distant but unmistakably deliberate. Something remained, something waiting to be discovered. And for the first time since awakening, Aaron felt the stirrings of purpose. He did not know what awaited him in the days to come, but he understood one truth clearly. The world had changed. Humanity had vanished, and he was awake to face it all. The first night in the silent city had been long and restless. Aaron had watched the strange glow on the horizon fade into darkness, yet the memory of it lingered in his mind. It was not the glow of a fire or the reflection of the moon. It had been mechanical, precise, almost deliberate. Something out there was still active, waiting or perhaps observing. Morning came slowly. The sun rose weakly through a hazy sky, casting pale light across the empty streets. Aaron climbed down from the rooftop and decided to explore the city more deliberately. His footsteps were careful. The city was unstable, with crumbling buildings and broken roads that could collapse under his weight. Every sound he made echoed endlessly, reminding him of the emptiness around him. He walked past a collapsed bridge and through a park where grass had overtaken the benches and playgrounds. A swing swayed in the wind, squeaking faintly, as if echoing the laughter of children long gone. Aaron paused, staring at it. His mind filled with memories he could barely place, running in the sun, feeling the warmth of home, voices calling his name. Those voices, once so familiar, were now ghosts in his mind. The world had survived, but humanity had vanished. The thought pressed on him heavily. He wanted to understand why. He wanted to know if he truly was alone. Aaron's exploration led him to a strange sight. A plaza with an enormous fountain, long dry but filled with moss and vines. On the edge of the fountain lay a tablet, partially buried but functional. He wiped away the dirt and pressed the power button. A soft hum filled the air, and a holographic map flickered to life. The map showed a vast network of underground facilities and transport lines beneath the city. Small green markers blinked faintly, indicating power still flowing in some areas. One marker stood out, bright, steady, and pulsing in a pattern. It matched the glow he had seen the night before. Aaron's curiosity surged. He knew he had to follow it. Whatever lay at the source of that pulse might hold answers about humanity's fate, or perhaps clues about what still survived. He prepared for the journey with what little supplies he could find. The station's storage rooms offered preserved food packs, water, and tools. Aaron packed a small bag, feeling the familiar tug of determination. Even alone, the human instinct to survive and explore pushed him onward. The path to the pulse led him through the outskirts of the city. Buildings gave way to open land where nature had reclaimed its place. Trees grew tall and dense. Birds flitted between branches and small animals appeared curious yet cautious. Aaron noticed how the world had adapted to the absence of humans. It was both beautiful and strange, life thriving in a way that humans could no longer control. He also noticed anomalies. Some animals behaved unusually intelligent. Foxes seemed to watch him with calculated interest, and birds moved in synchronized patterns as though communicating silently. Machines, too, remained active. Small drones hovered near broken factories, performing maintenance tasks with mechanical precision, untouched by human hands. It was as if the city itself had become alive, continuing its purpose without guidance. By evening, Aaron reached the outskirts of a facility hidden beneath the roots of a massive tree. The entrance was partially buried, but he found a hatch leading underground. The faint glow pulsed from within. He hesitated for a moment, remembering the emptiness he had seen above. Then, with a deep breath, he descended into the unknown. The underground was a maze of tunnels dimly lit by glowing strips of energy. Aaron moved carefully, listening. The hum of machines surrounded him, steady and reassuring. Some tunnels led to storage areas filled with supplies, while others ended in locked doors and empty chambers. Yet every path seemed deliberate, as if the place had been waiting for someone to arrive. Finally, he reached a large chamber. At its center stood a tall structure, metallic and humming with energy. The glow was brighter here, bathing the room in pale blue light. On closer inspection, Aaron realized it was a terminal, a complex interface of human and alien technology. Data scrolled across the screens far beyond what he could immediately understand. Symbols moved in patterns, sequences of numbers, and maps of distant worlds. Aaron touched the terminal lightly. Words formed on the nearest screen. Humanity's exodus. Project Ark. Survivors in transit. It was true. Humans had not vanished, they had left. Earth had become a silent cradle, abandoned while humanity spread across the stars. Yet the message hinted at incompleteness. Something had gone wrong. Many had left, but the records were corrupted, fragmentary. Where had the others gone? Had some failed to survive? While reading, Aaron became aware of another presence. He froze. The chamber was empty, yet he felt eyes upon him. Turning slowly, he noticed a small drone hovering near the ceiling. Its sensors glowed, scanning him silently. He realized it was not hostile, merely observing. Perhaps it was a guardian of this place, left behind to protect the terminal or maintain the facility. Aaron took a deep breath, speaking aloud for the first time in hours. I am human. Like those who left, I seek answers. The drone's lights flickered as if acknowledging him. Then softly, a voice emerged from the terminal's speakers. It was mechanical, but with a tone almost human in cadence. You are awake. You are last, or first to return. Accessing archives. The terminal began to display images. Cities in ruin, colonies in distant orbits, humans in stasis chambers aboard massive ships. The scope was staggering. Humanity had reached beyond Earth, but at a cost. Many had not survived the journey. Others had settled on distant worlds, lost to the silence of space. Earth had become a memory, a home left behind, waiting for those who might return. Aaron felt a mix of awe and despair. The human spirit had endured, yet he was alone here. He thought of the city above, empty streets now more mysterious than before. Yet hope stirred within him. If even a fragment of humanity remained, if some had survived among the stars, then he was not truly alone. Night fell in the underground chamber. The hum of machinery became a lullaby, the soft glow of the terminal casting long shadows across the walls. Aaron lay on a bench nearby, exhausted from the day's discoveries. Yet sleep was uneasy. Dreams of voices, of distant worlds, and the missing humans haunted him. Before drifting off, he made a decision. He would follow the paths laid out by the terminal, discover the fate of humanity, and perhaps rekindle the connection between Earth and its children. The journey would be dangerous, and he might encounter creatures, machines, or remnants of experiments long forgotten. But Aaron understood that humans were survivors by nature. Curiosity, courage, and resilience ran through his veins. He could not turn back. As he closed his eyes, the terminal continued its glow, mapping unknown worlds and recording data. Somewhere among the stars, humanity endured. And here on the silent Earth, one human had awakened, not merely to survive, but to find the truth, to reconnect the past with the present, and to carry the spark of humanity forward. The first steps of his journey had begun. The pulse of light, the hum of forgotten machines, and the endless corridors of knowledge awaited him. The world above might have been silent, but beneath the surface a story of discovery and survival was unfolding, and Aaron was ready. Aaron awoke in the quiet underground chamber, the hum of the terminal still glowing softly. The images of distant worlds and floating ships from the terminal lingered in his mind. Even after hours of staring, he could not fully comprehend the scale of humanity's journey. Humans had left their cradle seeking survival beyond Earth, yet something was wrong. So much of the data was fragmented, missing pieces scattered across centuries. Determined, Aaron rose and prepared for exploration. The terminal's map highlighted a network of tunnels branching deeper into the Earth. One path, marked with a persistent pulse of light, promised answers. He grabbed a makeshift pack with supplies, food rations, water, a small toolkit, and a light source, and stepped into the tunnel. The air grew cooler as he descended. Shadows danced along the walls, elongated by the glow of the terminal's energy strips. The tunnel walls were smooth, carved with precision, evidence of advanced construction long beyond what he remembered from human engineering. Occasionally, faint symbols glowed along the walls, pulsing in patterns that felt almost like language. Aaron reached out to touch them, but the symbols faded at his touch, leaving only cold stone behind. After hours of careful walking, he reached a vast chamber. The space was massive, stretching far beyond the reach of his lights. At the center stood an enormous device, half machine, half organic, pulsating with energy. Its surface shimmered, reflecting colors that seemed alive. The hum was louder here, resonating in his chest. As he approached, a soft movement caught his eye. Small creatures, humanoid but unfamiliar, emerged from the shadows. Their bodies were thin, covered with a translucent membrane that shimmered faintly. They had no mouths, yet seemed to communicate with each other through the pulsing patterns of their bodies. When they noticed Aaron, they froze, observing him with curious, glowing eyes. Aaron remained still. He had read about adaptive species in old human records, experiments that attempted to merge biology and technology. Perhaps these were the result of centuries of evolution, accelerated by humanity's absence. He tried to show he meant no harm, raising his hand slowly. The creatures tilted their heads in response, then retreated silently, disappearing into the shadows. The encounter left Aaron unsettled. He realized that Earth had changed not only physically, but biologically. The absence of humans had allowed life to adapt in unexpected ways. Yet he felt a spark of hope. If life could survive and evolve, perhaps he could find traces of humanity somewhere in this transformed world. Exploring further, he found corridors lined with dormant machines. They were humanoid in shape, but clearly artificial, robots designed for work, maintenance, and defense. Some were rusted and lifeless, while others emitted faint pulses of energy, as if waiting for a command. One machine suddenly activated as he approached, its eyes glowing softly. "Identification?" it asked in a mechanical voice. "I am human," Aaron replied cautiously. "I was asleep for a very long time." The machine's sensors scanned him, and after a long pause, it spoke again. "Human recognized. Protocol assist. Follow guidance." Aaron hesitated, then decided to follow. The machine moved gracefully, leading him through a maze of corridors to a smaller chamber. Here, screens displayed maps of the planet, showing regions marked with energy signatures, some natural, others artificial. The machine gestured toward a glowing point on the map. Source of pulse. Historical records stored. Knowledge of human migration. Safety not guaranteed, Aaron nodded. This was the closest he had come to a clear lead. Humanity had left, yes, but remnants of their presence, their knowledge, still existed here. Perhaps this chamber held the keys to understanding where they went and why Earth had been abandoned. The machine guided him to a terminal. Its interface was more advanced than any technology Aaron had seen before. He reached out, hesitating, and then touched the glowing surface. Images and symbols flashed rapidly, and a soft voice explained in fragments. Humanity faced collapse. Earth's resources depleted. Exodus initiated. Arc ships launched to distant systems. Some failed, some lost. This planet left behind, waiting. Aaron felt a mix of awe and sorrow. Humanity had survived, but not without sacrifice. The Earth he had known was now a silent monument to endurance, a reminder of what was lost and what could still be found. Hours passed as he explored the chamber. The machine remained beside him, offering assistance when needed. They found storage units filled with supplies, logs of experiments, and detailed records of the Exodus. Aaron realized that some humans had attempted to create automated caretakers, designed to preserve knowledge and monitor Earth until humans could return, or until someone like him awoke. A sudden sound interrupted him, a low rumble, like shifting stone. The chamber shook slightly and dust fell from the ceiling. Aaron froze. Outside, the faint glow of movement suggested something larger was approaching. He watched cautiously as massive shadows moved in the corridors. The machine's voice was calm. "No immediate threat. Unknown entity. Observation recommended." Aaron's heart pounded. Whatever this was, it had survived centuries underground, undisturbed by humans. The corridors were silent again, but he felt eyes upon him. Slowly, he stepped back, relying on the machine's guidance to navigate the winding tunnels. The pulse of light continued to beckon him deeper. Eventually, they reached another chamber, larger and older than the last. Here, remnants of human activity were unmistakable: sleeping pods, stasis chambers, and tools left behind. Many were damaged, their occupants long gone, yet some contained records, holographic messages from humans who had once hoped to return. Aaron moved carefully among them, reading fragments of messages. Some spoke of love and family, others of fear and uncertainty. One hologram, flickering with age, showed a young woman speaking directly. "If anyone finds this, know that we did our best. Earth is not lost, but it waits. Preserve what you can and continue. Humanity endures." The words struck Aaron deeply. He was not alone, not completely. Humanity's legacy lived on, in records, in machines, and perhaps in distant stars. The responsibility weighed heavily on him, yet it gave him purpose. He was awake at the right moment, chosen by circumstance to witness, preserve, and perhaps reconnect what was lost. Night fell once more in the underground. Aaron and the machine rested in the chamber, surrounded by the glow of terminals and the faint hum of energy. The strange creatures he had seen earlier watched from the shadows, curious yet cautious. The pulse of light continued, steady and insistent, guiding him toward further discoveries. Before sleep claimed him, Aaron made a vow. He would follow the pulse, uncover the truth about humanity's fate, and ensure that the Earth was remembered. If life could adapt, evolve, and survive without humans, then surely humans could endure even across the stars. The journey was far from over. The world above was silent, but below, secrets waited. Machines, strange creatures, and ancient technology all whispered possibilities. Aaron understood that the next steps would be dangerous, that he might face the unknown. But for the first time, he felt ready. He drifted into a fitful sleep, the glow of the terminal painting shadows across his face. Beyond the tunnels and chambers, the pulse of light continued to shine, a beacon of hope in a world that had long forgotten humans. Aaron would follow it. He had no choice but to move forward, for the future of humanity, or what remained of it, depended on him. Aaron awoke in the faint glow of the terminal, the memory of the strange chamber and the pulse of light fresh in his mind. The underground tunnels were no longer unfamiliar. He now recognized the paths, the hum of machinery and the rhythm of energy pulsing through the corridors. But the world he had uncovered was still full of mysteries. Every step forward brought new questions. The machine that had accompanied him remained at his side, its sensors glowing softly in the dim light. It moved with purpose, guiding him deeper into the underground network. Aaron followed closely, cautious but determined. The pulse of light, steady and insistent, continued to lead him toward something greater, something that might explain the fate of humanity and the strange new life that had emerged in its absence. As they moved through a vast chamber, Aaron noticed something unusual. The walls were covered in what appeared to be symbols, but not the simple geometric shapes from before. These were intricate, almost artistic, depicting humans, stars, and strange creatures intertwined with technology. Some symbols seemed to move subtly, glowing in sequences that almost formed a story. Aaron traced them with his fingers, feeling a strange connection. It was as if someone or something was telling a tale across the centuries, leaving messages for those who would follow. The machine paused, its lights flickering. Data stream detected. Historical archive located ahead. Access possible. Aaron nodded, excitement and apprehension mixing in his chest. This might be the key to understanding what had happened to humanity. They reached a massive door, sealed for centuries, but still functional. The machine scanned the locking mechanism and opened it with a soft hiss. Beyond lay a chamber filled with suspended holographic images, floating in the air like stars in the night sky. Each hologram represented a fragment of human history: cities, space stations, experiments, and human faces frozen in time. Some were familiar, others alien, hinting at humanity's encounters with worlds beyond Earth. Aaron moved among the holograms, studying the scenes. He saw ships departing Earth carrying humans to distant stars. Some images showed planets terraformed for habitation, cities built in alien landscapes, and humans adapting to strange environments. Others depicted failure, Ships lost to cosmic storms, colonies abandoned, and individuals left behind. The scope of human ambition and resilience struck him with awe. Yet even as he absorbed these images, a subtle unease grew. Some holograms flickered, distorted by glitches. Shadows moved in the corner of his vision. He felt the presence of life, not human but intelligent. Small, glowing creatures emerged from the shadows, more confident than those he had seen earlier. They moved in coordinated patterns, almost as if observing him, analyzing his behavior. Aaron held his ground, raising a hand in a gesture of peace. The creatures paused, then approached slowly, their bodies glowing softly. They communicated in pulses of light, forming patterns he could barely comprehend. Though he could not understand their language, he sensed curiosity and recognition. The machine stepped forward. Species known. Non-hostile. Observation only. Aaron exhaled, relief mixing with fascination. The underground world was alive in ways he could not have imagined. Life had adapted, evolved, and thrived without humans, yet it seemed to acknowledge his presence. Perhaps in some way the Earth had been waiting for a human to return. He turned back to the holograms. One, larger and brighter than the others, seemed to respond to his proximity. A human figure appeared, speaking directly to him. The voice was faint, almost a whisper. If you are seeing this, know that humanity did not forget Earth. Our journey was long, our challenges great. We left to survive, but we hope to return, preserve what remains, carry the knowledge forward. Aaron's heart raced. These words were not just a record, they were a message, a call to action. He realized that he had a role, perhaps the role in reconnecting Earth with humanity's legacy. He was no longer just a survivor. He was a witness, a guardian of what had been lost. The machine guided him further, through corridors lined with dormant pods and storage units. Some pods contained remnants of humans in stasis long past their intended awakening. Others held equipment, tools and technology designed to maintain Earth in humanity's absence. Aaron studied them carefully, learning how the machines had managed resources, monitored ecosystems, and preserved knowledge. Humanity had left behind a carefully constructed legacy, a seed to ensure that life could continue, even if humans could not be present. Hours passed, and Aaron began to understand the scale of what had been left behind. Earth was not abandoned, it was protected. Machines, creatures, and energy systems all worked in harmony to maintain balance. And now, he was part of this system, a living connection to the humans who had once called this planet home. But the pulse of light still beckoned. It led him deeper into the underground network, to chambers he had not yet explored. Here he encountered remnants of human experiments, biological adaptations, hybrid creatures, and automated systems that had evolved over centuries. Some were friendly, like the glowing creatures that watched him. Others were dangerous, defensive systems designed to protect secrets long forgotten. One room in particular caught his attention. It contained a massive sphere, covered in glowing lines of energy. The sphere pulsed rhythmically like a heartbeat, and the terminal indicated that it stored vast amounts of knowledge, databases of human history, scientific discoveries, and star maps. Aaron approached carefully, realizing that this might be the most important discovery of all. The machine extended a sensor toward the sphere, scanning it and transmitting data to Aaron. The information streamed rapidly, overwhelming his senses. He saw the paths humans had taken through the stars, the colonies they had established, and the experiments they had conducted to adapt to alien worlds. He saw triumphs and failures, hope and despair, courage and sacrifice. And among it all, he saw the persistence of humanity's spirit, a drive to survive, to explore, and to endure. As he absorbed the knowledge, Aaron felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity had faced extinction, yet it had found ways to endure, and now he had awakened to witness it, to carry it forward. The Earth was not forgotten. It had waited patiently for him, for someone to understand, preserve, and reconnect its story. But even as he felt hope, a faint unease lingered. The chamber was not entirely silent. Faint movements, shadows in the corners suggested that not all life was benign. Some systems were defensive, perhaps still guarding secrets that humans had hidden. Aaron realized that his journey would be dangerous, that he might face threats designed to test or challenge him. Yet he felt ready. The human instinct to explore, to survive, and to understand burned brightly within him. Night fell in the underground once more. Aaron settled near the sphere, studying the streams of knowledge and making careful notes. The glowing creatures watched silently from the shadows. The machine stood vigilant, and the pulse of light continued to shine, guiding him toward further discoveries. He understood that he was only at the beginning of a long journey, one that would take him through mysteries, dangers, and revelations beyond imagination. As he drifted into sleep, Aaron thought of the surface world, empty, silent, yet full of life in unexpected forms. He thought of humanity, scattered among the stars, and of the legacy they had left behind. And he knew one thing with certainty: the human spirit endures. It adapts, it survives, and now it had awakened once more in him. Tomorrow he would follow the pulse even further, uncover the hidden truths of Earth, and begin to bridge the gap between the past and the future. He was no longer just a survivor. He was a seeker, a guardian, and a link to a legacy that could never be forgotten. Aaron awoke to a quiet hum that was almost familiar now. The pulse of light had grown brighter overnight, and the glowing sphere of knowledge still radiated in the chamber, casting intricate shadows across the walls. Today, he knew, would bring answers. The questions that had driven him for so long, about humanity's disappearance, Earth's transformation, and his role in this silent world, could no longer be ignored. He packed his supplies and followed the machine through a corridor that seemed new, one he had not explored before. The walls here were lined with data conduits, and the air hummed with a rhythm that almost felt alive. Aaron could feel the energy around him, subtle but persistent, guiding him forward like an invisible hand. The corridor ended in a vast observation chamber. From here, Aaron could see the surface through reinforced glass, though it had cracked over the centuries. The city sprawled below, empty yet vibrant with life. Trees climbed buildings, rivers ran free, and strange creatures moved cautiously through streets once dominated by humans. He realized once again that life had endured, adapted, and thrived without human guidance. Yet the sight brought both awe and sorrow, the beauty of survival and the pain of absence. In the center of the chamber stood a console, connected to the sphere of knowledge. Aaron approached carefully. The screen flickered, and a holographic map of the galaxy appeared, showing the routes humanity had taken. Stars glimmered with the locations of colonies, some thriving, some abandoned. He could see the ships that had carried humans across the void, the experiments conducted on alien worlds, and the challenges they had faced. Then, a message appeared. It was long, detailed, and addressed specifically to whoever might awaken on Earth. The voice was human, recorded centuries ago. To the one who awakens, know this: humanity did not vanish. We survived, scattered among the stars. Some of us remain in stasis, some on distant worlds, some lost forever. Earth was left behind, not abandoned but preserved. We hoped that one day someone would return to witness our legacy and understand the choices we made. Aaron listened, captivated. The message spoke of courage, hope, and sacrifice. It explained that Earth's resources had been strained, that humanity had faced collapse, and that the decision to leave had been made out of necessity. Ships called Orcs had carried those who could survive, while automated systems and carefully engineered life forms maintained Earth's balance. Every machine, every creature he had encountered had been part of this plan. For the first time, Aaron understood the enormity of the task humanity had undertaken. They had not simply left, they had planned, prepared, and ensured that life could continue. And now, he was the living witness of their achievement. The console displayed a blinking marker on the edge of the map, indicating a distant location on Earth's surface. The pulse of light was strongest there, almost like a heartbeat calling him forward. Aaron knew he had to go. Whatever lay at the source could hold the final piece of humanity's story. Emerging from the underground, Aaron found the surface bathed in the pale glow of the sun. The air smelled of earth and rain, and the city below was alive with the subtle movements of evolved life. He felt a connection to the world he had never known, a world that had grown beyond humanity, yet still waited for it to return. The journey to the source of the pulse was long and treacherous. Buildings leaned at impossible angles, streets were fractured, and the remnants of old vehicles and machines littered the path. Strange creatures watched from the shadows, some cautious, others curious. Aaron moved carefully, aware that the world had changed in ways he could not yet comprehend. After hours of walking, he arrived at an ancient research facility, mostly buried and overgrown. The entrance was massive, with doors reinforced by decades of machinery and protective systems. Using knowledge gained from the machine underground, Aaron managed to open the doors. Inside, he found a chamber unlike any other. The room was circular, with a large platform at its center. On the platform floated a crystalline structure, glowing with an intense light. The pulse of energy came from this crystal, steady and deliberate. Surrounding it were holograms, smaller and more detailed than any he had seen before. They depicted humans, Earth, and distant worlds, all connected by lines of light, as if showing a network of life and knowledge spanning the galaxy. As Aaron approached, the crystal reacted to his presence. Light wrapped around him, scanning, analyzing, almost as if it recognized him. Then a voice, gentle yet commanding, filled the chamber. "You are the first to awaken and witness the legacy of humanity on Earth. This crystal holds the memory of all who left, all who survived, and all who hoped. You are the link between the past and the future." Aaron felt a surge of emotion, pride, sorrow, hope, all mixed together. He realized that he was not just a survivor. He was the guardian of this knowledge, the one who could carry the story of humanity forward. He could preserve it, share it, and perhaps one day help reconnect Earth with its scattered children among the stars. The crystal projected visions of the humans in stasis chambers, drifting among the stars, preserved in hopes that one day Earth would be ready for their return. It showed colonies on distant planets where humans adapted to alien skies, strange soils, and new challenges. The stories of triumph and struggle filled Aaron with awe. Humanity had endured even when separated from its home, even when faced with unimaginable obstacles. Then the vision shifted, showing Earth itself. Automated systems and evolved creatures worked in harmony, maintaining balance. Forests grew where cities had crumbled. Rivers ran clean and strong, and animals thrived. The pulse of the crystal connected all life, a reminder that Earth, though silent, was alive and waiting. Aaron understood. Humanity had not vanished. They had survived. They had left Earth in capable hands. And now, after 15,000 years of slumber, he had awoken to witness it all. He had become a part of the story, the bridge between past and future. He spent hours exploring the chamber, absorbing knowledge, and connecting with the crystal. Every detail, every record, every vision filled gaps in his understanding. He realized the truth. The world had changed, but humans had endured, and life itself had adapted in ways even they could not have anticipated. As night fell, Aaron climbed to the surface once more. The stars above were bright and clear, untouched by pollution or city lights. He felt a connection to the distant colonies he had seen in the holograms. Somewhere out there, humans lived on alien worlds carrying the legacy of Earth within them, and he, awake now, could act as a link, a living memory of the planet they had left behind. He walked through the silent city one last time, observing the balance of life. Trees reached high, animals moved freely, and even the remnants of human technology now served the planet rather than controlling it. Earth was not abandoned, it was thriving, and he knew that humanity, though scattered, had not forgotten it. The pulse of the crystal in the underground chamber would continue, a reminder of the past and a guide for the future. Aaron had awakened not just to survive, but to witness, understand, and protect. He was the living proof that the human spirit endured, that it could face solitude, mystery, and the passage of millennia without faltering. Standing under the stars, Aaron felt the weight of his role and the hope of humanity intertwined. He was not alone. Earth was alive, life had adapted, and somewhere in the vastness of space, humanity awaited its reunion. With determination, he began to walk, following the pulse, ready to explore, preserve, and connect. The story of humans, Earth, and life itself was far from over. And for the first time since awakening, Aaron smiled, knowing that the future, though uncertain, was bright with possibility.